So,
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It's an honor to sit down and talk some life and martial arts with you today.
yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be cool.
So, I just kind of been joking with my guests because it always comes up one way or another. But what are things like where you're at in terms of, the COVID regulations? You being a gym owner,
Right.
I know you guys. We are actually here in my state are getting clobbered right now.
Yeah.
Other states, I think 3 other states were placed a travel ban on my state today.
Yeah, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We placed travel bans on other states where they're all currently. It's kind of like flipped from where we were earlier, right? When New York was like
the
epicenter, and people were putting travel restrictions on people from New York. So, but to your question, where are we? New York City being where it was, the epicenter of everything. So most of New York State is right now in like our phase 3 reopening. Not New York City yet. We're a phase behind because our numbers were so high that we were like the last district in the state that they allowed to start reopening. So we're in phase 2 right now in New York City, and so like a lot of places, gyms, our kinds of gyms don't really fit into a category, especially mine, which is very small. Like our average class size is like 10 people. It's like we're more like a boutique kind of place than a big, like even like a, I think when they outline the businesses for the different phases and they say gym or fitness center, they're thinking like Planet Fitness or, something with hundreds of people coming through, lots of machines, multiple classrooms, really fast turnover, stuff like that. So I operate from the standpoint that is not us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my position is that we fall under education. So gyms in New York City are not allowed to open yet officially, but trade schools and specialty schools and technical schools are. And that's how I'm positioning us. So we're doing a limited reopening starting in phase 2. And by limited, by social distance classes and stuff like that, which for a gym of my size essentially equates to like semi-private lessons, because my mat space is only 30 by 20, right? We're really small. So our classes are going to be limited to 3 people plus the instructor, like 4 people in the room max, or private lessons, and so we've got the mat space divided into 3 8.5 by 15 foot sections, and each section has its own crash pads, its own medicine balls, its own everything, its own grappling dummies. And so we'll be running classes like that, and then we'll reassess as things go. But I'm glad to open at least that way, and I mean, look, I whatever. There are other gyms that I know are secretly open and training and rolling and doing their things, and I'm not that guy. So
how far away is Malta from you?
Malta? New York?
Yeah, Eddie Fivey. Where's he?
Oh yeah, he's yeah, no, I know Eddie. He's way upstate. He's he's up near Saratoga Springs, which is a good, I don't know, 5-hour drive, 6-hour drive upstate or something like that. And upstate New York was relatively, I don't want to say completely unaffected, but it wasn't like New York City,
Mm-hmm.
New York City. I mean, I understand the regional realities of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I wondered, because I had Tanner Rice on the podcast, and like their community had just not had a lot of cases to begin with and hadn't had cases in a while when he reopened, and everybody's circumstance has been a little different, Man, I saw the amazing amount of online stuff. Like that's something anybody I've talked to that owns a gym. Was that something you were doing for your students or the
Um,
community before this?
Well, I've always had one of the things that's helped me survive this, honestly, is my online presence, because have a pretty big online presence. So I felt bad for a lot of the gym owners, maybe who are older or come from a generation that, or, like that old school mentality, like, I don't need that internet shit or like whatever, or they're just, they just don't have the knowledge of how to use the internet or how to market or anything like that. So I feel like I was fortunate to have spent a long time developing a internet following and presence. So for me to um, create something new, like in this time, was relatively easy for me because I already have a following. But for people who are starting from scratch, it was really hard. Like I felt from the beginning. Well, as you know, I've had tons of free stuff online like
Yeah.
forever, right? Like I've never really charged, anything. I've put everything up on YouTube for free. I never had a streaming channel or anything like that. I've had a couple of seminars and instructionals that are pay-per-view, but generally, like, most of my stuff has always been free. I've always been a believer of just no secrets, sharing what and just put it out there, and so when it came time for the to shut down the gym and I was thinking about ways to make money, I was like, well, now it's about time to start a streaming channel that people have to subscribe to, and I didn't really have to market it much because everybody knows who I am already, and I also wanted to provide something for the students that were still going to keep paying tuition, or even those that weren't, that couldn't, about 50% of my students lost their jobs or whatever. And and I didn't want to do Zoom classes, which I essentially think are like a waste of time for adult classes.
And
I
those are rough. Those are rough.
pretty much every instructor I've talked to that has done Zoom classes for adults has been like, it's a big failure. I mean, I understand the intent, but I think there's other ways to what do you call it?
Engage.
Engage and achieve the same goals and stuff like that. So I wanted to give something to my students for free, obviously, to keep them engaged, but I didn't want to do Zoom classes, so what I did was start the streaming channel, and then I knew like a little ahead of time that we were going to shut down when we were going to shut down. We shut down a little before the state told us to.
We did
About
too.
4 or 5 days. And then, but that gave us time to put about 30 lessons in the can, recorded a whole ton of them in advance. And then I had other stuff that I had recorded over the years that I never released or that had not been released in a very long time,
Yeah.
And then what I did was I set up the streaming channel. All the students get a VIP pass, so they don't have to pay for it. So it's free for students, but it's also available to anybody to subscribe to for $10 a month, right? So
Okay.
that actually serves as a bit of an income stream while the gym is closed. So that's helped a little bit. And so I've been, it's been keeping my brain active at least. I put up 3 videos a week, two that are exclusive to subscribers and students, and 1 that's free to everybody. So even if anybody doesn't want to subscribe, but they still want to check out the channel, we still put up 1 free piece of content every weekend.
Yeah. That's I was browsing around at just the stuff that you put out, and amazing.
Well, those the more recent ones, I ran out of lessons, right? So I started thinking about other stuff to do. And like I started the coach sessions series, which I really am digging doing these because I have like probably 20 years of matches recorded and on video that have, so basically twice a week I'm putting up like detailed breakdowns of matches.
Awesome.
And my students love it, and I do flashbacks and I do current students and stuff. And it's really great. Like just for me as a teacher, I still feel like I am teaching, and then for the students who can't get in the mat to get like detailed analysis of their matches and stuff and other people's matches is they're finding it really beneficial. So
yeah,
but it's going well.
That's what I love about. I've been putting videos out with the podcast for a couple years, with the gym for 3 years, I think, and it's just cool thinking of different ways to approach. Like, I'm going to do a voiceover with this one. I'm going to do a vlog or a
Yeah.
series on this. Man, it's that's what I like about the podcast too. Is you can just get creative, and man, it's just a way to create. So
Yeah, yeah. And each new thing you do hopefully gives more ideas, for other things to do. And we'll keep all that going even after we reopen. I mean, the streaming channel is going to stay regardless of whether we're open or closed. It's just a new, like my mind was, okay, I want to come out of this better than I went in. I want to come out of the pandemic closure better than I went in. And part of that is just, you have a massive opportunity to market your brand and to do really good brand building. You've got an entire audience who's glued to their screens right now. And and I'm not saying I haven't had rough days and depressing days, or I'm like, what the hell is my future going to, be? But, that's normal. But still, I try to be positive about it and think about how I can build the New York Combat Sambo brand during this time, so that when we do reopen, we're even stronger. Like, I literally have a waiting list right now of new people that want to join the gym solely
that's
based
great.
on the content we've been putting out now.
Have you been doing a lot of like digital private lessons?
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay.
I've had a couple of requests, and then I'm just like, nah, it's just not my thing, man. Like, if it was a current student that needed some help, I would do it. But I don't know. Like, private lessons for me are very tactile, engaging kind of experience, and like, so for me, like, let's just say in normal life, I prefer, like, when I do a private lesson, to the person has to bring a partner, and
Mhm.
especially if they want to work throws and stuff, because I don't want to get thrown for like an hour by someone who doesn't know how to throw, maybe. So it's like, you always have to bring a partner. So aside from owning the fact that I'm like going to be 52 years old and don't want to get beat up all day every day, it's easier for me to assess how people are picking up the material if I can observe it and work with them with a partner with it. So to me, private lessons are a very hands-on experience, and like a digital Zoom type of thing, it's not anything I'm interested in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what's different is, like, I have done stuff like that in the past with people, like, from other countries, for example, where they might ask me to break down a fight of theirs, or like, I've actually helped someone in Thailand scout their next opponent, for a Muay Thai fight from here, all doing it online, and then doing that stuff online. Like, that kind of stuff I'm totally glad to do. But when it comes down to, like, uh, you know, rolling up the sleeves, getting in there and working on technique, it's like, I just rather do it in person. And then I kind of feel like the breakdowns that I'm doing now for the channel are essentially like kind of the best form of private lesson that I could offer someone.
Yeah, I know
So
that's a great point, because like, I mean, honestly, you do have so much stuff out there, like just even the moves from rolled up, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I can
yeah, yeah,
just watch those and drill them. I have a huge TV up in my gym. Like, I could just get somebody there and do it. But yeah, that is a great point. Like Jordan Peterson, I've listened to him kind of say, he's like, yeah, but I could lecture to a classroom, or I could just release this lecture online and it's consumed by an
yeah,
insane amount of people. And that's
yeah, yeah.
how he thinks about things now,
Yeah, it's always about, when you're talking about marketing and content, it's not necessarily about the numbers of eyes on you, or, I mean, how do I describe it? Like, the more eyes on your product, the better, with the hope that the right eyes will, the larger your audience, the better chance the right people will view your stuff that can help you in your career, let's say, or the right people will see what you're putting out that need to see it for their development. You know what I mean? So I do agree. I think the more you put something out, the more available it is to people, the better it is.